Okay, children, now I hope you are thorough with Unit 1, isn't it? This week we are going to revise Unit 2. Okay, Unit 2, the prose is The Night the Ghost Got In, you know the story. And in this prose, there are totally 19 2-mark questions and 2 paragraphs. Revise that thoroughly. And regarding composition, we have speech writing. That also I have explained you how to write it, isn't it? So you have to give an introduction. There should be a proper beginning and ending. And you should know who's your audience. You should know how to convince your audience for your points, like that. Okay, prepare that and write it. Go through the points given in the book. And regarding grammar, articles is given. Articles is also easy, isn't it? A, and the are the articles. A and an are indefinite article, and the is definite article. We use a and an before singular nouns, the before a particular object or thing, and I have explained in the class where to use the, isn't it? For this, in your book also they have given so many points. If you go through that, it will be easy for you to go through it. Okay, do it. Don't omit anything in your textbook. Go through all even the examples given in your textbook. It will be easy for you to attend your public exam. Then the poem is Grumble Family. It's a very easy poem, isn't it? Already we have revised it. So revise it. In this poem, the main figure of speech is epithet. What is an epithet? It is nothing but an adjective. Here, complaining street. Okay, so what kind of street it is? It is a complaining street. So that complaining is an epithet. Okay, so this also we have learnt in class. And regarding this figure of speech, I have given I will send you in WhatsApp group. Okay, what are the figure of speech in this poem, so that you can often see that and revise it. Okay, and revise the question answers and also the paragraph from this poem. And supplementary, as I said already, go through the textbook, read the story line by line, so that it will be easy for you to answer all the questions that have been asked. Okay, so don't waste your time, children. Keep on preparing. If you prepare like this, surely, okay, 2 times you can revise the full portion before you go for the public exam. Okay, so keep preparing. All the best. Bye, children. We'll meet you in the next video.
Hello students, hope you are all staying safe at your home and preparing well for your examination. Don't forget to subscribe this channel. This is for your benefit only. Today I am going to brief lesson 2 optics and physics and lesson 14 in biology, that is transportation in plants and animals, and lesson 15 nervous system in biology. Let us all review the lesson and the important points.
Optics. Today we are going to learn the topics in the optics. First, the properties of light. The light is a source of energy. It travels in a straight line. No need of any medium to propagate. It travels in a vacuum also. Speed of light in air is 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meter second minus 1. Different colors are having different wavelength and frequency. Violet color has the lowest wavelength and red color has the highest wavelength. Second one is what is refraction. Refraction is nothing but when a light is traveling from transparent medium to another oblique medium, the path undergoes deviation. This is called as refraction. Then 2 laws of refraction. Incident ray, refracted ray and normal to the refracting surfaces lying on the same plane. The second law is also called as Snell's law. The ratio sine angle of incident is equal to the sine angle of refraction, that is sin I by sin R. The next one is refractive index. Refractive index. Ratio of speed of light in vacuum to speed of light in medium is called refractive index. Then coming to dispersion of light. When a white light is passing in a transparent medium, it splits up into components of colors. This is called as dispersion of light. Then coming to the spectrum, band of light is called as spectrum. It's called as Webb gap. Scattering of light. When the sun rays entering into the earth atmosphere, atoms and molecules in gases refract light in all possible directions. It's called the scattering of light. The types of scattering: elastic and inelastic, and Rayleigh-Tyndall, Raman effect, stroke lines, anti-stroke lines. Please go through these topics. These are all they may ask in one verse. Then coming to the lenses. Lens is a transparent medium bounded by two spherical refractive surfaces. It is divided into two types, concave and convex. Convex lens, two spherical surfaces thicker at center converge to a point. And second one is concave, two spherical surfaces thinner at center and divergent lenses. Other two types of lenses are plano-convex lens, that is biconvex, and plano-concave lens, biconcave. Image is formed due to refraction. It has three rules, major three rules, rule 1, 2 and 3. Draw the diagram. We have revised so many times in the class, and go through the diagrams and the explanations. The next one is applications of concave and convex lenses. They are used in camera, magnifying lens, microscope, telescope, slide projection, and eye lens, telescope, angle spy-hole dose, and defect of myopia. Lens formula is 1 by f equal to 1 by v minus 1 by u. That is, distance of the object is u, distance of image is v, focal length is f. The next important one is Cartesian sign conversion. In this, few important points are there. That is, object always lies in the left side of the lens. The distance will be calculated from the optic center of the lens, and distance measured in same direction of the incident ray is positive. Distance measured against the incident ray direction taken as negative. Upward is called positive, downward is negative. Then coming to magnification, ratio of highest of the image to the height of an object, that is called as magnification. M is equal to h dash by h. Convex power always will be calculated as positive, and concave power always will be calculated as negative. The SI unit of power is diopter. In structure of the human eye, the eye is a spherical 2 to 3 diameter, and then it has a stuffed membrane called sclera, protected internal parts. And we have to explain the parts also: cornea, iris, pupil, retina, ciliary muscles. From the cornea, the light, when it is coming, it passes through the cornea and it will passes to the pupil, and the pupil will adjust the light and it will enter into the eye lenses and it will converge, and a real inverted image will be formed in the retina. And in the brain, the optical nerves, it will be forming the erect image. The near point is 25 centimeter for the human eye. Defect of eye: myopia, hypermetropia, and presbyopia. Myopia, short-sightedness due to lens lengthening of eyeball, it's occurring. Nearer object can be seen, distance object cannot be seen. Focal length will be decreased here. And to correct this, we have to use concave lens. And the next one is hypermetropia, long-sightedness. Short things which is very close to your eyes cannot be seen clearly. Focal length is increased, and retina and lens distance will be decreased. Image will be formed behind the retina. Convex lens will be used to cure this. Presbyopia, due to aging, ciliary muscles will become very weak. This will cause the presbyopia. Astigmatism, parallel horizontal lines cannot be seen due to cataract, ulceration of cornea, injury. Due to this, astigmatism can occur. Then coming to the microscope types, two types are there: simple and compound microscope. With the help of diagram, you can explain it clearly. Hope this will be useful for you. Thank you. Transportation in plants and animals. In this lesson, first means of transport in plants. First one is diffusion. Diffusion means movement of water or solid molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration without any energy. Active transport. Membrane-bound proteins have to move across the cell membrane. It needs some energy, so it is called as active transport. Osmosis. Movement of solvent or water molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration is called osmosis. Plasmolysis. Water moves out of the cell. That process is called plasmolysis. And second one is imbibition. Imbibition in the sense the swollen part, that is the plant will absorb the water and become swollen. That is called as imbibition. The next one is pathway of water absorbed by roots. The pathway, first it starts with the root hairs, then water concentration will become higher in the, and it will be passed on to the cortex and then to the xylem, and from the xylem it will be moving on to the stem and the leaves. The next one is types of movement in water into the root cells. Two types, one is apoplast and the next one is symplast. Apoplast in the sense intracellular space, they will pass through the intracellular space and walls of the cells, they depends on gradient. Symplast in the sense water through the cells, pass through the cells, that is through the cell membrane also, it will cross the cell membrane, and the rate of movement is slow here. Then coming to the transpiration, you know very well, evaporation of water in the aerial parts through the stomata is called as transpiration. The factors affecting, two types of factors are there, internal and external factors, and importance of transpiration is transpiration pull, water absorbing, and then minerals, and it cools the plant, and turgid maintains turgid for shape. And what is transpiration pull? The aerial parts has the stomata. In the stomata, when the stomata opens, it creates a vacuum. The water, when water evaporates, it creates a vacuum which creates a suction. This is called as transpiration pull. And coming to the root pressure, ions in the soil, the minerals which is present in the soil contains the ions, that is heavy particles, and it has to move through the active transport. Okay, and when it is passing, the pressure will be increasing, and this is called as root pressure. The next one is called as uptake minerals, translocation of minerals. Minerals are charged particle, so it cannot able to move across the cell. Concentration in minerals in the soil is lesser than concentration of mineral in the root, so it needs some energy like ATP for the uptake movement. Translocation of minerals in the sense, when the plant is becoming old, that is the plant part like leaves and all becoming old, the nutritive value which is present inside that leaf will be transported to various parts. That is called as translocation of minerals. The next one is phloem transport. The phloem transport mainly explained by the sink and the source. Sink is the part which needs the food or which stores the food. Source is the part which synthesizes the food. The sink and source will be changing depending upon the situation. So depending upon the situation, they are going to be reversed. So easily they can change the position. So the unidirectional is not applicable here. So bidirectional is applicable here. So next one is translocation of sugar. The plants are preparing the glucose. That glucose will be converted into sucrose, and this sucrose will be passed on to the companion cells, and it will be passing on to the phloem sieves, and it is moving by the active transport, that is it requires some energy to move, and during this process it will be in the hypertonic position, and water in the adjacent xylem moves to the phloem, and osmotic pressure will be created, and sucrose will be transported from the higher concentration to lower concentration. The next one is ascent of sap. It is simply explained as upward movements of water and minerals is called as ascent of sap, and the factors involving in this ascent of sap is root pressure, capillary action, adhesion and cohesion. And next one is guttation. It is given in the more to know. It is also important. Then coming to the transportation in animals. Blood consists of mainly two components. One is plasma and another one is formed elements. The plasma is alkaline and It consists of 55% of non-cellular substances, glucose, urea, enzyme and hormones, vitamins, minerals are present. And coming to the formed elements are RBC, WBC and platelets. RBC. RBC is called as erythrocytes or red blood corpuscles. They are red in color because of the pigment called hemoglobin. This heme is the iron pigment which gives red color and helps to carry the oxygen. The lifetime of RBC is 120 days. The matured RBC will not have nucleus and it is by disc shaped to carry the oxygen, and mitochondria is also absent in this matured RBCs because the oxygen, how much they are carrying, it should be transported, the whole amount will be transported to various parts. And endoplasmic reticulum is also absent for the flexibility, and oxygen transport is the main function for RBC. Coming to the WBC are called as white blood corpuscles, and in this it is nucleated and they are present in bone marrow, spleen, thyme, lymph nodes, and they are having the amoeboid movement. Depending upon the granules, they are divided into two types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. Again, the granulocytes is having three different cells: neutrophil, basophil and eosinophil. The neutrophil will be having 2 to 7 lobed nucleus, 60 to 65% of neutrophil will be present, and basophil 0.5% to 1% will be present, and it's a lobed one. And third one is eosinophil. The eosinophil is bilobed and 2 to 3% will be present, and it will be formed in the allergic condition or parasitic infection. Then coming to the platelets lifetime is 8 to 10 days, helpful for blood clotting. The next one is blood vessels. 3 blood vessels are there: arteries, veins and capillaries. The arteries are thick and elastic. It carries blood from the heart to various parts of the body except pulmonary artery. Then coming to the veins are non-elastic and carry impure blood from different parts of the body to the arch, and pulmonary vein alone carries the pure blood. Then coming to the capillaries, it is a narrow tube. Branched arterioles reunite to form venules and they form the veins. Coming to the types of circulation, 2 types of circulations are there. One is open type and another one is closed type. In the open type, the blood vessels are absent and it is called as sinuses. These sinuses are body cavities called hemocoel. Here capillaries are absent. The closed type is present in the human. The heart is present in the thoracic cavity. It is made up of a special type of muscle called cardiac muscle covered by pericardial membrane. It has 4 chambers, 2 atria and 2 ventricle, and superior and inferior vena cava are present to collect the impure blood from the body and collect the impure blood from the body and pour into the heart for the purification, and coronary sinus is also present. Walls, 3 walls are present: tricuspid, bicuspid and semilunar walls are present. The main function of walls is it is a muscular flap and single direction. When the blood is moving, it will allow them to move only in the single direction, avoids the back flow. And coming to the blood circulation, 3 types of blood circulation are seen. One is systemic, pulmonary, coronary circulation. Systemic in the sense it starts from the left ventricle of the heart to the various organs and again return with the deoxygenated blood to the right atrium, aorta, and then pulmonary circulation starts with the right ventricle and pulmonary artery will carry the blood to the lungs for the purification, and then coronary artery always carries the circulation for the cardiacs, that is for the heart. And coming to the double circulation, the movement of blood twice through the heart for one circulation is called double circulation. Single circulation in the sense only one time it will rotate for one circulation to complete one round. Then coming to the heartbeat. Heartbeat is called as contraction, that is called as systole. Relaxation is called as diastole. 72 to 75 times per minute. And myogenic heart is the human heart. Initiation and conduction of heartbeat is by the sinoarterial node, SA node. It is present in the right artery near the opening of the superior vena cava. How they are creating? They create impulse by a wave of contraction, and it will passing on to the left and right arterial walls, and it will be reaching the ventricles and atrioventricular node. Then they will reach, and this node will emit contraction impulse via atrioventricular bundle and Purkinje bundle. This was discovered by the bundle office in the year of 1893. The pulse rate of human is 70/90. The cardiac cycle total time is 0.8 seconds, that is arterial systole is 0.1 second, ventricular systole is 0.3 seconds, ventricular diastole is 0.4 seconds. The heart sound is lub and tub. The first sound is called as lub, and it's a very long duration. It is happier due to the closure of bicuspid and tricuspid valves, and it's the starting of ventricular systole. Dub, it is a second sound. It is a shorter one. Close of semilunar valve at the end of ventricular systole, it will appear. Then coming to the blood pressure, systole and diastole. 120/80 mm/Hg. Then blood groups. Blood groups are 4 types: A, B, AB, and O blood groups are present. And RH factor, that is the rhesus monkey, they are found, so it is called as RH factor. If the antibodies are present, that is called as RH factor positive. If it is absent, then it is called as RH negative. Lymphatic system. Lymphatic system consists of capillaries, vessels, capillary nodes, ducts. They are all flowing in the lymphatic system. Lymph is nothing but the colorless fluid. The plasma protein which is present in the blood, that will be escaping in the intracellular space in tissue pores, and it will create this lymph. It will be consisting of carbon dioxide, water, and WBC. The main function is supply nutrients, drain excess tissue fluid, metabolites, carries absorbed fat in the intestine. And these are all the important points in the lesson, transportation in plants and animals. Go through this. Hope it will be helpful for you. Thanks. Nervous system. The nervous system is made up of nervous tissue. It's formed of 3 distinct components, namely neurons, neuroglia, and nerve fiber. Neuron or nerve cell, it is a structural and functional unit of the nervous system. Second one is neuroglia. It's also called as glial cells, and they are non-exciting supporting cells. And third one is the nerve fiber. The nerve fiber is a long slender process. It is nothing but many nerves joined together to form the bundle. The next one is structure of the neuron. The structure of the neuron consists of 3 main parts. One is cyton, dendrites, and axon. The cyton is also called as perikaryon. Inside the cyton, the cytoplasm will be present. That is called as neuroplasm. That is the important thing. And in the cytoplasm, the nasal granules are present. Coming to the dendrites, it is a branched part of the neuron, and it's passing the impulse to the cyton. Then last one is the axon. This is a long unbranched. At the terminal end only it is branched. It branched in a bulb-like structure called synaptic knob. So this axon is filled up with the axoplasm, and it is covered by a myelin sheath, and above the myelin sheath so many schwann cells will be present, and at the myelin sheath some places the depressions will be seen, that is called as node of Ranvier. And the another important one is synaptic knob junction. The junction between synaptic knob of axon of one neuron and dendron of next neuron is called synaptic junction. These are all the important points you have to write in structure of the neuron. Then coming to the types of neuron, it is divided into three types depending upon the structural base, that is unipolar, bipolar and multipolar neuron, and depending upon the functional base it is again divided into sensory, motor and associated neurons. And coming to the types of nerve fibers, myelinated, non-myelinated. Myelinated in the sense the axon covered by the white thin membrane, that is called myelinated. If the membrane is absent in the axon, that is called as non-myelinated. And transmission of nerve impulse, that is called as neurotransmitter. That is the important neurotransmitter released by neuron is called as acetylcholine. That is the important one. And coming to the human nervous system, three types are there: central nervous system, cerebral nervous system and autonomous nervous system. In the central nervous system, brain and spinal cord are the main parts. And coming to the brain is where it is present in the cranium and it is covered by three layers. These three layers together called as meninges. First one is dura mater, second one is arachnoid membrane and third one is pia mater. And coming to the parts of the brain is divided into three parts: forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. First, we are going to revise the forebrain. Forebrain consists of parts: cerebrum, diencephalon, thalamus and hypothalamus. This cerebrum is nearly 2/3 of the brain because this is the largest part, and it has right and left the cerebral hemisphere, that is called as median cleft. And next coming to the thalamus. The thalamus is acting as a relay center, and hypothalamus helps for the thermoregulatory. It is acting as a thermoregulatory center. And then coming to the next one, midbrain. The dorsal portion of the midbrain consists of four rounded bodies called corpora quadrigemina. That is the important thing here. And next one is hindbrain. Hindbrain consists of cerebellum, pons and medulla oblongata. The next important and repeated question is functions of the brain. The main function of cerebrum is sensory perception, control of voluntary function, language, thinking, memory, decision making, creativity. And for thalamus is acts as relay center. Hypothalamus is temperature control because it's acting as a thermoregulatory center. Hunger, urination, important link between nervous system. And coming to cerebellum, maintenance of posture and balance and voluntary muscle activity. And then pons and medulla oblongata, role in sleep, awake cycle, cardiovascular, respiratory and digestive control center. The next one is spinal cord. The spinal cord, if you are going to go through the diagram, it will be easy for you. This one is cerebrospinal fluid. The brain is suspended in a special fluid environment that is called as cerebrospinal fluid or CSF. The main function of this cerebrospinal fluid is acts as a shock absorbing fluid, and it supplies nutrient to the brain, collects and removes the waste from the brain, and responds for maintaining constant pressure inside the cranium. The next one is reflex action. It is again divided into two types: simple or basic, acquired or conditional. Simple or basic is from our birth itself. Few things we are doing without any practice, that is called as simple or basic reflex action. And another one is acquired or conditional, playing a keyboard, playing harmonium. Without learning we can't able to play this, that is called as acquired or conditional reflexes. What is spinal reflexes? In the sense, most of the reflex actions are monitored and controlled by the spinal cord, hence these are called the spinal reflexes. And another one point is also there, reflex arc. What is reflex arc? That is also important one. Then coming to the peripheral nervous system, cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Cranial nerves are from the brain. That has 12 pairs of cranial nerves, and spinal nerves are 31 pairs are present here. And autonomous nervous system, that is also called as ANS. It is also called as visceral nervous system. It regulates the functions of internal visceral organ of our body through its two antagonistic components called sympathetic and parasympathetic system. Thank you.
If you have any doubts in these 3 lessons, lesson 2, lesson 14 and lesson 15, message me through the WhatsApp. I will clarify your doubts. Be safe. All the best.